Hey guys, welcome to Sprint 9 review and Sprint 10 forecast. Let's jump right into it. So for the sprint goals, one of which was the Sophie GPT in production. So the scope got changed for this, and it was changed to Sophie GPT in SSW dev because the dev environment wasn't set up yet, and that was done, but production is not yet done. The Yakshaver video, the Yakshaver time per MCP video. So that isn't done, but I've spoken to Lydia and she'll be editing the video. She's currently editing some of your videos, Adam. So after she's done that, she'll be able to edit my video. Content Hawk video. Caleb, what's the progress on that one?
Yeah, so I've recorded a new version, and Ivan and Michael have reviewed it, but Adam hasn't checked it.
Right. And the last one, the Tina CMS to start using the sprint ceremony skill. So there's a few blockers for them still that haven't been addressed. So we're going to address them this sprint and then get them to test it out again. So for the hours, I was working on it for 3 days, Caleb and Michael on 2 days, and then Luke and Willow 1 day. And onto some of the work items. So Michael, I'll get you to cover some of the updates you've done to the sprint skill.
Sure thing. So the first point to call out is the ability to add rows into tables. So that was a pain point for the Tina CMS team because they wanted to be able to adjust it on the fly without necessarily having to wait until AI processed it. So I've added these buttons that put in these formatted rows that can be edited during the sprint review process. If that's all good, we'll keep. The next issue would be adding figure text underneath AI stats. So currently with the process, I've noticed that it's very easy to forget to put figure text underneath your images. So I've updated the process sprint transcripts, process sprint review skill to automatically add these figure text. So they will try to pull from existing emails if those exist. If they don't, the AI will try its best to make a guess as to what the figure text should say based off the location of the image. Obviously, this field is editable because AI is prone to making mistakes with images. So yeah. And nice. I think
I guess another one to call out is now it supports Azure DevOps. So before it was only supporting GitHub, so now it works at Azure DevOps as well. And onto SophieClaw. So the OpenClaw version that SophieClaw was on was outdated, so it didn't have a lot of the models, the current models. So we just gone ahead and updated it, and now it's using one of the later models. So we're using ZAI GLM 5V Turbo, which is a model that was built specifically for OpenClaw. So we're testing it out, seeing if it's better than OpenAI or Opus. With Tiger, so we just had to rotate the secrets here because the Claw subscription has changed, so that's all good. And for Crystal Ball, so there were some UI improvements that you suggested, Adam, and those have been applied to Crystal Ball. So there's all of these ones done. And then there was a few vulnerabilities because it was using an older version of Next.js and using some old packages. So fix it up with the Dependabot and using npm audit to fix up those vulnerabilities. And with Sophie GPT, Luke, is there anything that you want to add to this one?
Yeah. So we'll give some context. So the previous GPT is on some upgrade environment. So I check with environment. So we should use dev environment instead. So I move the Copilot to the dev environment and test it out, and also remove the autobot. So next step would be deploy to production through Azure DevOps pipeline.
Yep. So now it's on the store as well. Any questions on any of these PBIs before I move on? If not, then that is all good. I'll hand it over to Willow to cover the velocity and R&D.
Yeah, sure. So for velocity, we originally committed 31 points, but we delivered 32 points. So there's extra bonus 1 point. And for the R&D part, so for the Sprint Sync POC, Michael has did the research to sync the GitHub issues like real time, like because the previous one, the skill based, it will take a lot of time. And for the Tina CMS Canary feedback, Michael also did some R&D on this part to check the profile image link format. And then also for the, he also did something for the NDC Sydney Talk content review things. And then Lewis and Michael did some research on the Sophie Claw model. So that Lewis has just mentioned, the GLM v5 turbo one. Yeah, that's all for the R&D part.
Thanks for that, Willow. I'll hand it over to Luke to cover the AI tools that we're currently using.
Yep. So for AI tools changes, so for me, I'm started using ChatGPT Plus. It'll give me 1 month like a free trial. And for Column and Jim, for Column, he started using Codex GPT 5.5. And for Jim, so Jim is joining SSW AI this week. He will be on client next week. And for Jim, he's using Cloud Code, Sonnet 4.6, and also GitHub Copilot and Codex. And Jim is hitting limit. So Jim, which one is your hitting?
The Cloud one.
Cloud, okay. Cloud
Code.
Code. Okay. Yeah.
And that's the reason why you had to swap to Sonnet, correct? Because Opus was taking too many tokens.
Yeah, that's part of the reason. That's the main reason, actually. Yeah.
Cool. I hand it over to Michael to cover the AI stats.
Sure. So for the Claude stats, it's pretty much just re-listed out all of our done PBIs. And for the Copilot stats, Copilot has said that the main issue completed was that our sprint ceremony skill now uses Azure DevOps. That was something that was done, but not necessarily the correct thing in terms of the main issue completed. So Copilot was wrong this time.
Cool. So the backlog stats, we have a growing backlog, which makes sense. This is still a new project, so there'll be lots of things added there. Overall snapshot, so nothing much to mention other than the velocity. The average velocity is 21. And I hand it over to Callum to cover the sprint retro.
Yep. So first thing, obviously, Lewis noted we delivered above 100% of what we committed, which is always a good thing. Adam's NDC Sydney talk landed successfully, which was cool, obviously on the topic of AI. And I guess Lewis personally had a good sprint, which is nice for Lewis. Well done. What didn't go so well? Capacity was drained by untracked work for Caleb, so Caleb had to help out Tiago with some stuff that wasn't related to the AI team, I suppose, which took up some of his time. The Tina CMS Canary test, I guess we are not able to run it this week for various reasons. So I guess next week we'll get them to test it. And I guess it's also worth noting that even though we delivered more than what we planned, we actually 2/3 of what we delivered was additional work that we dragged into the sprint, not the work that we originally planned. So it's like we sort of changed direction, but we didn't we still got through a bunch of stuff. So pros and cons there. Improvements for next sprint: track non-AI capacity stealing work on the AI sprint board. I guess I'm not sure if it should be tracked on the AI sprint board, but I guess it should be tracked in terms of when we figure out how much capacity Caleb has, basically, as if you were doing any other project alongside AI. And also communicate capacity hits in chat at minimum. So yeah, let everyone know when you're not available, basically. And that's it for the retro.
Cool. Any questions? And I'll move on to the forecast. So for next sprint, there's a few goals that we want to hit. So the first one is the sprint sync, which is basically this email takes in the GitHub issues, but at the moment it takes quite a while with the skills. So we want to have a sync button on the top here that will automatically do that job in a much quicker time. Michael has a POC up that reduces it down from around 6 minutes with the skill to around a few seconds with the button. So that'll be a great step in making it more less of a blocker when people are trying to use the skill. The second one is to ship the Content Hawk video. It says here is Caleb's final task. It's basically what's left for Content Hawk to get the video out there. And Willow will be on client work with Jim soon, so she'll be wrapping up the Tiger website as well as the done video. And just to go on the Chew board. So here we have so there's also the crystal ball feature request that you requested, Adam. So adding a section for the people that you've worked with the most. And here's one for the Tiger website, the Tiger done video. Here's the one for the sprint sync that I mentioned, and the Content Hawk done video. If there are no questions, I will move on to the insights. So do note that this is a shorter sprint because we do start because of Anzac Day yesterday for New South Wales. And we'll have 2 members exiting after this sprint, which will reduce our capacity. And with Tina, we are postponing the Canary test because we want to fix all the feedback they had, because we got similar feedback from them as we did from the Yak Shaver team. And yeah, the sprint sync got the green light during the meeting, so that was good. And I'll hand it over to Michael to cover the AI stats.
Thank you, Lewis. The Claude stats have called out pretty much all of our PBIs to do this sprint. So those were called out alongside a couple smaller things that we discussed, like Lewis onboarding me onto the Crystal Ball code base in case he gets dragged off onto client work, and getting the Tiger website checked by Josh or Caleb, who have more knowledge with regards to that side of things. Looking at the Copilot stats, it's called out our main item to do next to be the sprint sync, which is first on our sprint goals. So that's correct. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the AI stats. I will take over the screen share and go over the Tiger dashboard. Sweet. So you all should be able to see the dashboard now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice that we hit 103% velocity. That was great. Looking down here, we've got a couple hard truths. It's not necessarily true because we do have a bit of shared knowledge on projects. So I've been working with Willow and Tiger, obviously, and other things, but these are all bits of context that Tiger doesn't have access to. So it's called that out. And then looking at our insights, it's called out this little discussion we had on the Tiger logo. But this was more so just something that I pointed out, that the votes didn't really match up. But in the end, I think we're all happy with the current logo. And with regards to a couple buried opportunities, it's called out that Willow's client has implemented AI in phase 2, etc. Potential knowledge transfer back to the team. So Willow, if anything cool you work on with AI, you can share about it and let us know. And
Yeah, sure.
yeah, looking at the trends with our graveyard, it's called out the recurring issue of the sprint ceremony adoption. So obviously that's a long-term goal we've been working on. Hopefully this new sprint sync the feature kills a lot of the pain points for these teams, and we can see more teams adopt this skill usage moving forward. And that's about everything from the Tiger dashboard that I thought was interesting. Did anyone have anything they wanted to take a look at? Awesome. In that case, I'll pass it back to you, Lewis.
Thank you, Michael. We'll just wrap up this meeting. So the video will be up on YouTube. And thanks all for joining me this week. I'll see you all next week. Thanks, guys.